Ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully, because I'm about to remind you of something you already know. In your heart, you owe it to you. Not to your parents, not to your boss, not to society's expectations. You owe it to the person staring back at you in the mirror every single morning. 2026 is not just another year. It's a line in the sand. It's the year you finally stop postponing your greatness. It's the year you stop negotiating with your excuses. It's the year you stop living at 40%, 60%, 80% of who you are and finally unleash 100% of your power. You've been carrying dreams in your heart for years. You've said, one day I'll start, one day I'll change, one day I'll become. But here's the truth. Someday is not a day on the calendar. Your someday is 2026. You owe it to yourself to step into the discomfort of growth. Because comfort zones feel safe, but they're slowly stealing your potential. Growth is uncomfortable. Change is inconvenient. Progress feels heavy, but so does regret. And regret is a weight you don't want to carry into the next decade. Think about this. Every limitation you've ever had was built by your own story. And if you wrote the story, you can rewrite it. You can choose today to stand up and say, enough. Enough of playing small. Enough of letting fear dictate my moves. Enough of living as a fraction of myself. 2026 is not waiting for you to be ready. It's not waiting for the stars to align. The only thing it's waiting for is your decision. The decision to bet on yourself. The decision to fight for the life you deserve. The decision to stop surviving and start thriving. You owe it to you to be the healthiest you've ever been. You owe it to you to chase the opportunities you've been ignoring. You owe it to you to demand more from yourself. Not because life is easy, but because you're capable of so much more than you've been giving. And here's the kicker. Nobody is coming to rescue you. Nobody is going to hand you your dream life wrapped with a bow. The cavalry isn't coming. You are the cavalry. So when the clock strikes midnight in 2026 begins, I want you to feel that fire inside you. That spark that says, this is MY year. This is MY breakthrough. This is MY revolution. Because you've got one shot at this life. And when it's all said and done, the only person you'll have to answer to is yourself. And the question will be, did you give everything you had? Did you play full out? Did you owe it to you? And pay that debt in full. Stand tall. Step up. Claim your year. Claim your destiny, because 2026 is not just another year. It's your year. And you owe it to you. 2026 is the year to stop postponing your greatness and step fully into your potential, because for far too long you have allowed yourself to put your dreams on hold, waiting for the perfect timing, waiting for the right resources, waiting for someone to give you permission, waiting for the right level of confidence, waiting for the stars to align. And the truth is that none of that is ever going to happen the way you imagine, because life does not reward waiting. Life rewards action. Life rewards those who are willing to step forward, even when they are scared, even when they feel underprepared, even when the odds don't seem in their favor, because courage has never been about the absence of fear. Courage has always been about acting in spite of fear. And when you delay your greatness, you are telling yourself a story that says someday I'll change, someday I'll rise, someday I'll become who I know I can be. But someday is a lie. Someday is a thief that steals from your present. Someday convinces you that there will be a better moment than now. But the truth is that the moment you have been waiting for is not in the future. It's here. It's now. It's 2026, and it's demanding that you wake up, that you take ownership of your life, that you finally realize no one else is going to hand you the life you dream of. No one is going to do your push-ups. No one is going to put in your hours. No one is going to overcome your fears for you. That's your responsibility. And deep down, you know it. You feel it, because every time you quiet yourself and listen to that voice within you, you hear it whispering that you were meant for more. You were built for more. That you are not living at the level you could be. And yet you've allowed yourself to get trapped in routines, trapped in cycles of comfort, trapped in the endless loop of tomorrow, trapped in distractions that numb the fire inside you. And that's why now is the time to break it. Now is the time to rip off the chains. Now is the time to take the risk, make the leap, commit to the discipline, and step fully into who you are meant to become. You see, the reality is that most people live their lives never accessing more than a fraction of their potential. They let fear dictate what they pursue. They let doubt talk them out of what they know they want. They let excuses become stronger than their drive. They let time pass as if it is unlimited. But you and I know time is the one resource you can never get back. Time is the currency of life, and you've already spent years waiting, procrastinating, hoping, and promising yourself you'll start soon, but soon has come and gone 100 times already, and 2026 is standing right in front of you asking, will you keep repeating the same cycle, or will you finally draw a line in the sand and decide that this is it, that this is the year you stop postponing your greatness? Because the world doesn't need a half version of you. The world doesn't need you playing small. The world doesn't need you dimming your light to fit into other people's comfort zones. The world needs the full force of you, the unapologetic, bold, passionate, relentless version of you that you've been hiding from. Because when you unleash that version, not only does your life change, but everyone around you rises, and everyone around you gets permission to do the same. And that's the ripple effect of courage. And when one person decides to live fully, it gives others the strength to do the same. 2026 is the moment where you stop negotiating with your limitations. Stop trying to justify why you haven't started. Stop blaming your past. Stop pointing at circumstances. Stop waiting for support that may never come. And instead, you choose to own it all. You choose to own your story, own your actions, own your discipline, own your energy. And when you do that, everything shifts. Because you stop being at the mercy of life and you start becoming the author of it. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop holding back and start breaking through. And that is the shift that transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. Not talent, not luck, not background, but the decision to no longer wait, the decision to no longer let another year slip by without becoming who you know you could be. You owe it to yourself to stop postponing your greatness, because deep down you already know what you need to do. You already know the habits you must break, the discipline you must build, the risks you must take, the fears you must face. And it's not a question of knowledge anymore. It's a question of will. It's a question of courage. It's a question of whether you are willing to endure the discomfort of growth rather than the pain of regret. And because regret is heavier, regret is cruel, regret is the reminder of what you could have been. Regret is the silent voice in the back of your mind that whispers you had the chance and you let it slip. And if you've ever felt that before, then you know how much it stings, and you also know you never want to feel it again. So why risk repeating the same mistake when the answer is already in your hands? When the year ahead is begging you to take control, when you can decide right now to rise instead of delay. The truth is you've got one life, one shot, one chance to leave your mark, and the clock is always ticking whether you pay attention or not. And the longer you wait, the further you drift from the life you were meant to live. But the moment you decide to stop postponing and step fully into your potential, you ignite something that can't be put out. Because once you taste what it feels like to give everything, to push beyond limits, to feel that inner strength wake up, you'll never want to go back. You'll never again settle for average. You'll never again accept mediocrity, because you'll know how powerful you really are. And that power has always been in you. It's been waiting for you to stop waiting. And 2026 is the year you finally set it free. 2026 is the year you stop making excuses and start making moves. 2026 is the year you step out of the shadows and step into the arena. 2026 is the year you stop living on potential and start living in power. And because potential means nothing if it stays locked away, greatness means nothing if it's never expressed. And the world doesn't just want to see your greatness. It needs to see it. It needs your gifts. It needs your fire. It needs your strength. And it's all inside you right now, and waiting for you to finally choose to step into it fully, without hesitation, without delay, without postponement, because this is your year and you owe it to you. Comfort zones create regret. Growth requires discomfort and bold decisions, because the very place that feels the safest is also the place that keeps you stuck. It's the invisible prison that convinces you you're fine when in reality you're stagnant. And the longer you stay there, the more you convince yourself that mediocrity is acceptable, that maybe this is all there is for you. But deep down you know it isn't true. And deep down you feel the ache of unexpressed potential. You feel the hunger for more. You feel the fire that keeps asking, when will you stop settling? When will you stop protecting yourself from the very experiences that will transform you? And the truth is, every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary had to walk out of the comfort zone. They had to step into uncertainty. They had to face resistance. They had to do the thing that scared them. And they had to do it without a guarantee, because growth never comes with a promise of how it will work out. Growth only comes with the guarantee that it will stretch you, shape you, and force you to become more than you are right now. Comfort zones feel good in the moment. They feel like a warm blanket. They feel like safety, but they are the breeding ground for regret, because while you are comfortable, time is slipping, opportunities are passing, the world is moving, and you are sitting still convincing yourself that tomorrow you will try, tomorrow you will push, tomorrow you will take the leap. But the habit of tomorrow always wins against the call of today. And before you know it, months pass, years pass, decades pass. And what remains are the regrets of the chances you never took, the dreams you never chased, the words you never spoke, the changes you never made. And regret weighs far more than discomfort ever will. Regret lingers, regret haunts. Regret is the voice in your head saying, what if I had tried? What if I had risked? What if I had pushed beyond what I thought I could handle? And that is why you must choose discomfort now, so you don't face regret later. Growth is never supposed to feel easy. It's not designed to be convenient. Growth, by definition, is stretching beyond where you are. It is leaving behind the familiar and stepping into the unknown. It's waking up earlier than your body wants. It's making sacrifices when comfort calls. It's confronting fears that make your heart race. It's saying no to habits that used to soothe you. It's saying yes to challenges that make you sweat. It's failing and trying again. It's stumbling and still moving forward. And every time you push yourself into that uncomfortable space, you discover something new about yourself. You discover that you're stronger than you thought. You're braver than you believed. You're more resilient than you ever gave yourself credit for. And every time you make a bold decision in the face of fear, you take back your power, because fear doesn't go away, but your courage grows bigger than it. People often confuse comfort with happiness, but they are not the same. Comfort is avoidance. It's the path of least resistance. It's the illusion of peace. But happiness is the byproduct of progress. Happiness comes from knowing you're becoming more. Happiness comes from growth, from expansion, and from feeling alive, because you're challenging yourself, because you're climbing mountains that once looked impossible, because you're daring to make decisions that once felt terrifying. And when you do that, you don't just create results, you create pride, you create self-respect, you create belief. And that belief compounds over time until you become unstoppable. Every bold decision you've been afraid to make is a doorway to your next level. Maybe it's leaving a job that drains you. Maybe it's starting the business you've been dreaming about. Maybe it's ending a toxic relationship. Maybe it's committing to your health. Maybe it's moving to a new city. Maybe it's finally speaking your truth. Whatever it is, you already know the decision. It's been sitting in your chest. It's been whispering to you in quiet moments. It's been reminding you in the silence. And every time you ignore it, you don't silence it, you just bury it deeper. And burying it only increases the pain. But when you finally make that bold decision, something incredible happens. The weight lifts, the energy returns, the clarity expands. Because boldness is freedom. Boldness is power. Boldness is the declaration that you refuse to let fear or comfort dictate your destiny. Growth requires that you accept the temporary discomfort of being misunderstood, because when you make bold moves, not everyone will clap for you. Not everyone will understand. Some will criticize. Some will doubt. Some will try to hold you back because your growth threatens their comfort. And if you're addicted to their approval, you'll stay stuck. But if you can embrace the discomfort of walking your own path, you will find the people who align with your vision. You will attract the energy that matches your courage, and you will build a life that reflects who you really are rather than who others expect you to be. Think of every great achievement in history. None of it came from staying comfortable. None of it came from playing small. None of it came from waiting until it felt easy. It came from the moments when someone said yes to the challenge, yes to the unknown, yes to the risk, yes to the discomfort. And because of that, yes, they grew, they transformed, they built something bigger than themselves, and that same possibility exists for you. But it requires that you stop choosing comfort over courage, stop choosing safety over strength, stop choosing regret over risk. And because every time you take the bold road, you unlock new levels of yourself that you didn't even know were there. You've already spent enough time in the comfort zone. You already know what that life looks like. You know its routine. You know its emptiness. You know its false promises. And that's why this moment is so crucial, because this is the time to rewrite the script. This is the time to embrace discomfort, not as a punishment, but as a pathway, to see it as the price of transformation, to welcome it as the sign that you're on the right track, because discomfort means you're growing. Discomfort means you're moving. Discomfort means you're alive. And the more you lean into it, the faster you evolve, the faster you step into the person you were meant to be, the faster you create the life that right now feels out of reach, but in reality is waiting for you on the other side of your bold decisions. No one is coming to save you. You are your own rescue mission, because the greatest illusion most people hold on to is the belief that someone else will come along and change their life. That one day, the right mentor, the right partner, the right opportunity, the right miracle will appear and make everything different. But the truth is that waiting for someone else to fix your life is the surest way to stay stuck in it, because no one feels what you feel when you wake up in the morning. No one carries the weight of your doubts. No one hears the voice inside your head telling you're not enough. And no one knows the battles you fought just to make it to this point. No one else can feel the depth of your desire for change, which means no one else can be responsible for delivering it. It is and always has been your job, your responsibility, your mission, because you are the only one who has the power to flip the switch to decide enough is enough. The fantasy of rescue is comforting, and it makes you believe you don't have to do the hard work yourself. It makes you think someone out there has the answers you don't, that someone out there has the solution you've been missing. But deep down, you already know the answers. You know the work that needs to be done. You know the decisions you've been avoiding. You know the discipline you've been postponing. And the truth is that even if someone came and gave you all the tools, all the resources, all the strategies, none of it would matter until you decide to act. Because tools don't build on their own. Strategies don't execute themselves. Resources don't transform your life unless you pick them up and use them. And that's why the shift only happens when you finally realize no one is coming. No one is riding in on a white horse. No one is going to pull you out of your struggles. The rescue is in your own two hands. It is easy to blame circumstances and to point at your environment, your upbringing, your lack of support, your lack of opportunities, and convince yourself that this is why you are stuck. But blame doesn't change anything. Blame doesn't move you forward. Blame just keeps you locked in the story that says someone else has control over your destiny. But that's the biggest lie, because the moment you stop blaming and start owning your situation, you take back control. You take back your power. You stop being a victim of what happened to you, and you start being the creator of what happens next. And that is the defining moment. That is when people shift from waiting for life to change, to deciding to change life, from waiting for someone to lead them to deciding to lead themselves, from hoping someone will open the door to kicking it open themselves. You are your own rescue mission, which means you have to be willing to face the fire, to confront the hard truths, to look at the parts of your life that are broken and take responsibility for fixing them, even when it feels unfair, even when you didn't cause the pain, even when you didn't ask for the struggle, because waiting for fairness will keep you stuck forever. Life isn't fair, but it's also not final. And the moment you choose to take ownership, you begin to shift the direction, because you can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. And that response is the power you've been underestimating. Think of the strongest people you admire. They didn't become strong because someone saved them. They became strong because no one did. They became strong because they were forced to dig deep, to rise up, to figure it out, to fail, to get back up, to create a way where there wasn't one. And in that struggle, they found out who they really were. And the same is true for you. And the struggle you are facing right now is not proof that you are stuck. It's proof that you are in training. It's proof that you are being prepared to rise. It's proof that you are building the muscle you'll need for the next level of your life. And the only way you waste it is if you keep waiting for someone else to carry you through it, instead of realizing you are being shaped to carry yourself. This doesn't mean you can't have help. It doesn't mean you won't have people who guide you, support you, encourage you, but even their support won't matter unless you take action, because support is a spark, but you are the fuel. Support is guidance, but you are the driver. And if you sit in the car waiting for someone else to press the gas, you'll stay parked forever, because nobody can want your success more than you, and nobody can fight for your vision more than you. Nobody can carry your dream with the same fire as you. And the moment you understand that, you stop being disappointed when others don't save you, and you start being unstoppable, because you realize you've had the power all along. When you look in the mirror, you are looking at the only person responsible for changing your life. You are looking at the only person who can transform your health, your finances, your mindset, your relationships, your future. And if you don't like what you see today, and that's okay, because that reflection is also the person who can rewrite it all. That reflection is the person who has survived everything up to this point. And that reflection is the person who still has the capacity to choose differently, to think differently, to act differently, to rise differently. And if you've made it this far without anyone saving you, imagine how far you can go when you stop waiting and start leading. Waiting for rescue will keep you trapped in the cycle of frustration, because every time you look outward instead of inward, you lose power. Every time you hope someone else will decide for you, you stay powerless. Every time you wait for someone else to lift you, you forget that your legs work. Every time you think someone else has the answer, you discount the wisdom inside you, and you have to wake up to the truth that all along you've been the answer. You've been the resource. You've been the one you were waiting for. And once that clicks, once that becomes real in your heart, there is nothing you can't overcome. It won't be easy. It won't be comfortable. It won't always be clear, but it will be worth it, because every step you take to rescue yourself builds belief. Every challenge you face builds courage. Every risk you take builds resilience. Every failure you rise from builds confidence. And soon you'll realize you never needed saving. You just needed to stop waiting. You just needed to stop handing over your power. You just needed to step into the truth that you are capable of saving yourself, of building yourself, of creating yourself. And when you do that, you don't just survive, you thrive. You don't just make it out, you rise above. And that's when you finally understand that the rescue mission you've been waiting for was always you. You owe it to yourself to claim 2026 as the year of your breakthrough, because every single day you wake up with a choice to continue repeating the patterns that have kept you stuck, or a choice to step into the power that you've been carrying all along. And too many times in the past, you've settled for less. You've let fear run the show. You've let excuses win the battle. You've let distractions steal your focus. And deep down, you know that you've been playing small compared to what you're capable of. You know you've left opportunities untouched. You know you've silenced your voice when it needed to be heard. You know you've hesitated when it was time to leap. And every time you did it, a part of you felt that frustration, that inner fire that says you were meant for more. And that fire doesn't go away. It keeps burning. It keeps reminding you that there's a greater version of you waiting to be unleashed. And that's why 2026 cannot be just another year. It cannot be another cycle of hesitation and half effort. It cannot be another chapter of waiting and wishing. It must be the year you decide to break through. A breakthrough doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen by luck. It happens by decision. It happens by intensity, and it happens when you get so fed up with the old story that you refuse to keep living it. It happens when you say, I'm done being the old me. I'm done carrying the old excuses. I'm done telling myself the same tired lies. I'm done being held hostage by my own fears. It happens when you decide that the pain of staying the same is heavier than the pain of change. It happens when you decide that nothing and no one is going to stop you from stepping into the life you deserve. And if you've ever had a breakthrough before, you know what it feels like. You know that energy, that certainty, that unstoppable drive that comes when you finally push past the wall that was holding you back. And you know that once it happens, you can never go back to who you were. Claiming 2026 as your breakthrough year means you are no longer living in reaction. You are living in creation. You are no longer letting circumstances dictate your mood, your effort, your actions. You are no longer giving your power away to people who don't understand your vision. You are no longer settling for being average in areas where you know you can be excellent. It means you wake up every day with the mentality that this is my time, this is my year, this is my life, and I will not waste it, because time doesn't wait, opportunity doesn't wait, and life doesn't pause until you feel ready. It keeps moving. And if you don't decide to claim it, you will watch it slip. Again, breakthroughs demand energy. They demand action. They demand consistency. They demand that you do things differently than you have before, because you can't expect to step into a new reality while carrying the same habits, the same mindset, and the same routines that kept you in the old one. You have to disrupt yourself. You have to push harder. You have to cut away the excuses that you used to tolerate. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard. And when you do that, when you raise your standard, everything around you shifts, because the world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're willing to demand of yourself. It gives you what you're willing to work for. It gives you what you're willing to show up for every single day. And when you finally step up in that way, the opportunities appear, the doors open, the momentum builds. And because life responds to boldness, a breakthrough also requires belief. Because if you don't believe it's possible for you, you'll sabotage yourself before you start. And belief isn't about blind faith. It's about making a decision that no matter what, you will find a way, you will figure it out, you will keep going until it happens. Belief is the foundation that gives your actions power, because when you believe, you act differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You persist when others quit. You keep moving when others stall. And every action you take reinforces that belief until it becomes unshakable. And once it becomes unshakable, the breakthrough is inevitable. Claiming 2026 as your breakthrough year means looking at every area of your life with honesty and asking yourself, where am I holding back? Where am I making excuses? Where am I still playing small? And instead of avoiding those answers, you confront them, you face them head on, and you commit to changing them. Maybe it's your health, and you know you've been neglecting it. Maybe it's your finances, and you've been living in survival instead of strategy. Maybe it's your relationship, and you've been settling for less than you deserve. Maybe it's your purpose, and you've been hiding from the calling that keeps whispering to you. Whatever it is, this is the year you stop running from it and start rising to it, because breakthroughs don't come from hiding. They come from honesty. They come from courage. They come from choosing to take full ownership of your life. And here's the truth. No one else can claim it for you. No one else can decide that 2026 is your breakthrough. No one else can do the work for you. People can encourage you. They can inspire you. They can give you tools. But the decision to claim it, the decision to live it, that belongs to you and you alone. And when you finally choose it, when you finally say with absolute certainty that this is my year, that certainty becomes fuel. It becomes energy. It becomes a driving force that pushes you when you're tired, that lifts you when you're discouraged, that reminds you when you're tempted to quit that you already claimed this year as yours. A breakthrough is not about being lucky. It's about being relentless. It's about being consistent. It's about being disciplined when no one is watching. It's about showing up when you don't feel like it. It's about pushing through the resistance that used to stop you. It's about choosing growth every single day, even when it hurts, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels like it's not working, because every step you take compounds, every choice you make builds, every sacrifice you endure pays off. And then one day the wall cracks, the resistance breaks, the results show, the momentum explodes, and you step into that moment where you realize the breakthrough is here, and it was never about luck. It was about your commitment. 2026 is not waiting for you to feel ready. It's not waiting for you to have everything figured out. It's not waiting for perfect timing. It's waiting for you to decide. It's waiting for you to step up. It's waiting for you to draw a line in the sand and say, the old me ends here and the new me begins now, because the truth is breakthroughs don't happen someday, and they happen the moment you decide that you refuse to go back, that you refuse to live small, that you refuse to settle for less than you're capable of. And when you make that decision and you back it with action, with consistency, with belief, then 2026 doesn't just become another year on the calendar. It becomes the year everything changed. It becomes the year you broke through. It becomes the year you claimed your life fully. And that is why you owe it to yourself to claim it now. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to like and subscribe.